Finding volume. In this video, you are going to take notes on how to find volume of irregular solids, like that emerald, liquids, and regular solids, so like rectangular prisms. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of finding volume, you need to understand what volume is. Volume is how much space this emerald is taking up, or how much space that milk is taking in that glass, or how much space these alphabet cubes take up. So that is what we're going to learn. There's 3 different methods, so you need to understand all of them very well. Open up your workbook to the page that looks just like this. This is where you will be taking notes for regular solids, irregular solids, and liquids. You'll be identifying the method used and what unit of measurement you label your final answer with. The first type of item that we're going to find the volume of is a regular solid. This may be a cube, or in the example shown, a rectangular prism. So to find the volume of a regular solid, the first thing we have to look at is the length. Then we look at the width. And last, we look at the height. So in the method used, we would say volume equals length multiplied by width multiplied by height. Or the way we abbreviate it, and you'd probably see this in math class, is V equals LWH, because if those variables for length, width, and height are right next to each other, that tells me I am multiplying. And obviously the tool that we would use is a metric ruler, because we like the base 10 system. Now because we're doing a solid, the unit of measure would be cubic centimeters, cubic meaning 3 dimensions. All right, and the abbreviation is lowercase cm, and then I call it a flying 3 because it can't be touching the ground. Now click pause and make sure you have everything written down on your workbook page notes that I have written down on the screen. The next type of volume that we're going to learn how to solve for is an irregular solid. That means it's not a perfect rectangular prism or cube. So in this case, a rock. This method is called the water displacement method, because we're going to displace or move the water level. With the water displacement level, we start at a certain level of water. So in this case, 100 milliliters. Now when I lean down, I'm going to look at where the bottom of that curve is, and in this case, it is at 100 milliliters. Now I'm going to carefully add the rock, and I'm going to tilt the graduated cylinder so that I do not lose any water. So I don't want it to splash out, because then I'm going to not start at 100 milliliters anymore. And so I need to zoom in and see where that bottom curve ends. In this case, it's right above the 105 milliliter mark. So the work that I would have to show for the displacement method for the example I just showed was I would start with the number I just got, which was 105 milliliters. I'm going to subtract the amount of water I started with. Notice the lowercase m and the capital L. All right, got to have my unit of measure. 5 minus 0 is 5, and then it's 0, 0. So the volume of that rock is not 5 milliliters. I've got to convert it to cubic centimeters. So what I know is 1 milliliter is equal to 1 cubic centimeter. So what I know is my rock is actually 5 cubic centimeters in volume. That's how much space it takes. So here are the notes you have to write in the box for an irregular solid to find the volume of it, how much space it takes up. 1, fill a container with a certain amount of water. 2, place the object carefully in the graduated cylinder without losing any water. The water level will rise. 3, Find the difference between the two water levels. So based on that picture to the side, those are the examples. Now the units of measure, because it's a solid, we don't keep it milliliter. So what we know is 1 milliliter equals 1 cubic centimeter. Remember, we must convert to a solid unit like cubic centimeters. Please click pause and make sure you've copied all of these notes into your workbook. To find the volume of a liquid, you carefully pour all of the liquid into the graduated cylinder. You cannot leave any, you can't spill any because that changes the volume or the amount of space that liquid takes up. So once the liquid is poured into the graduated cylinder, you have to bend it down and look at what level that liquid is with that graduated cylinder. So sometimes it looks curved within that graduated cylinder. So we always read the bottom of the curve. So in this case, the liquid goes to the 100 milliliter mark. We never ever read the top of the curve, always the bottom of the curve. And because it's a liquid, we use milliliters, not cubic centimeters. In the method used box, I need you to write, pour all of the liquid carefully into a graduated cylinder. In units of measure, we're going to write use milliliters. Notice it's a lowercase m, capital L, or liters. Mrs. Koval's water bottle is always in liters, capital L. Or if you buy the big sodas, they tend to be 2 liters. Okay, make sure you copy these notes, so click pause so you can make sure everything is complete. In the next few days, we are going to continue to practice to find the volume or how much space these objects take up using the method for a regular solid, an irregular solid, and a liquid. So make sure your notes are complete in order to have a reference to look at. Good luck!